Word of warning: the character of Master Voluminous is simply that, a character. He might not be evil, but he is definitely a bastard. So try not to let what he says offend you, okay? Enjoy.
Greetings, listeners. I am the mighty Master Voluminous, teacher, commentator, and most importantly to you, storyteller. It has been too long, my acolytes. I hope you didn't miss me too much. Now, the last time we met, we began a new book in the Voluminous Reads series. Vatour, Feel Free to Die, by Gift C and Yadike Jr., which is available to read on Amazon. In the first chapter, a quad of loud-mouthed, drunken arson enthusiasts was slaughtered by an unseen assailant who left a calling card in the form of a single black feather. Today we delve into Chapter 2 and meet an old tailor, Vadim Ivanov.
Before we begin reading, I am going to list all the ways in which you may seek more content or an audience with the Master. First, check out mortiferousarcadia.blogspot.com. That is our main website. Or send an email to mortiferousarcadia@gmail.com if you wish to express how this story made you feel. Look up Mortiferous Arcadia on Facebook and Wattpad. And finally, search Master Voluminous on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, DeviantArt, or Pinterest and give us a follow.
Chapter 2: The Old Tailor. Scotch, the city where dreams come true or nightmares become reality. A place of progress or degradation. Love or hate. Sincerity or hypocrisy. For any of the city's inhabitants, these are closed questions with only one true answer. It is the latter. The answer to every one of these questions is always the latter. But for those on the outside looking in, or who are new to the area, the aforementioned questions are open. The answer requires more elaboration. Verbal or physical elaboration. Scotch is a giant Venus flytrap. It lures unsuspecting victims in with its beauty and promise of a better life. The unsuspecting prey, so mesmerized by these bright colors, beautiful houses, and high employment rate, combined with fancy restaurants, hotels, and sporting facilities, that they do not notice the massive jaws closing around them. Spiny teeth form a cage from which the victims can never escape, and more often than not, the unfortunate, the weak, are slowly and painfully digested. Those who survive are still trapped. They must fight constantly to survive, and to do that they must give in to their darker impulses. Lie, cheat, steal, kill. Most who go down this path usually do it with a desire to make better lives for themselves and their families, while a significant and vocal minority do it for selfish reasons. Thrill, power, money, drugs, sex, you name it. The crime syndicates are the top predators of the savage ecosystem that is Scotch. And if you want the oxygenated blood that flows from your lungs to come contact with your cells instead of the wall or floor, you had better submit to them. There are a few who end up as willing pawns. In the southeast block lives an old tailor by the name of Vadim Ivanov, who has been living in Scotch for decades. Vadim has 2 daughters. Correction, he had 2 daughters. His eldest daughter, Milana, was rebellious and hated him. Vadim's first wife and Milana's mother had left them when she was 6 years old, taking most of his money with her, leaving them in financial ruin. Vadim never told his daughter why her mother was no longer around, both for her sake and his own. Their relationship had grown more and more strained. Vadim worked various jobs day and night to make ends meet, but still they barely got by. He eventually found his passion for designing and making clothing, and worked tirelessly at his shop, but business was always struggling. At age 16, Milana dropped out of school and started associating with gangsters. Unsurprisingly, the rift between them had grown even wider. But it wasn't until 2 years later, when Vadim had married his second wife, Maria, and had another daughter, that the father and elder daughter began to mend their relationship. Milana started helping out around the house more. After telling her parents of her severed ties with the criminal underworld, she took a job at a pub with good pay, and the family was making serious money for the first time in years. Alas, all good things must come to an end. The week after her 29th birthday, Milana was killed in a shootout with the police. Unbeknownst to Vadim and Maria, she had been heavily involved in the drug trade, an aspect of the criminal underworld which she claimed to have left behind. After that, Maria had fallen ill, with a sick wife and an 11-year-old daughter to take care of. Vadim had to work twice as hard. 10 years passed and business had been on the decline for the last 3 of them. Maria died, and he was barely able to acquire enough money to get his daughter into the journalism institution she wanted to attend. Another 5 years has passed, and now he is on his own, still working in his shop that he had ironically called Ticania Dieste, Fabric of Hope. When he first started it, in another ironic twist, the hard-working family man, the father, is paying for the mistakes of his daughter. As stated before, the gangs are at the top of the food chain in this city. And like it or not, they are essential for your survival. 2 years since Milana's death, there had been a surge in gangs trying to claim her territory. It became a war which had driven away many residents and shop owners. Many lives were lost, but when it was finally over, there was only one group left standing: the Hellfire Crew, a gang whose founder is dedicated to violence for whatever reason. All of its members are given names derived from fear or heat. Since they run the southern eastern block of Scotch, all shop owners and residents bow to them. That includes poor, old Vadim. Since taking over, they've been hassling shop owners for protection money, and have been steadily increasing the cost monthly. Heaven help those who don't pay on time. The police are no help at all, considering that it was their attack on Milana's crew that led to the gang wars in the first place. The Hellfire crew are relatively small fish in the ocean of crime. Vadim remembers Commissioner Kintu's words over and over in his mind as he is getting ready to close up shop for the night. We have far more dangerous organizations to deal with and cannot spare our limited resources. You had plenty of resources when you killed my daughter, Vadim thinks aloud. Now you are too scared to finish what you started. He paces back and forth in front of his front desk. Show up to cause problems when none existed, then stay away when you were actually needed. I swear. At the sound of the shop bell ringing, pulling him away from his rant, a Caucasian with a fiery red mohawk walks into the shop. He has a lip and eyebrow piercing, wears denim vests and camel pants, complete with a pair of black boots. I'm sorry, but you will have to come back tomorrow. He takes in the man's appearance and then notices the flame tattoo on his neck. He instantly loses any semblance of his usual good manners. The payment isn't due until... The gangster holds up his hands reassuringly. Relax, old-timer. I'll be back for that when the time comes. Then get out! I am a very busy man and your kind is not welcome here. Vadim turns around and starts to walk to his office when he feels a sharp blow to the back of his head. He falls to the floor, unconscious. The man with the mohawk stands over him with a gun in hand. We just need a moment of your time. He walks to the shop door and calls out, All right, get this old fart in the back of the truck and hurry up. The boss is waiting. Two large men in similar outfits to the mohawked man come into the store. They carry Vadim's body out and toss him into the back of a big brown van. The mohawked man turns the shop sign to say closed and gets in the passenger seat. We go to Freebird. We're going to that place? The tall Latino man with cornrows at the wheel asks. Now don't tell me you believe all those ghost stories, Sparks. The mohawked man laughs. Besides, the boss has his personal psycho, Ember, with him. She can handle herself. Plus they've got 3 armed goons with them. But Flair! But nothing! Flair snaps. Just shut up and drive so we can get this over with. Sparks simply nods and continues driving. It takes about an hour to reach the abandoned road. Once they enter, they spot a dark-skinned woman with dreadlocks and a gray trench coat standing in front of an SUV, with 3 goons behind her. Ember fires a gun in the air and holds her hand out, signaling for them to stop. Out! She orders. Good to see you too, Flair states sarcastically as he climbs out of the van. Get the old man out of the van, and if he tries anything, you all die. Don't worry, I had 2 of my boys tie him up and watch the whole ride here. Flair states as he has Sparks goes to open the back of the doors of the van. He won't do anything stupid. Emperor gives him an icy stare, her voice soft and venomous. You'd better hope not. Sparks and the men who guarded Vadim walk out from behind the van with their prisoner in tow, hands tied behind his back and face badly bruised. Flair gives Ember a smug expression. Say, what did I tell you? The 2 men force the old Tailor down on his knees. What do you want from me? My boss has a few questions for you, Ember says soothingly. If your answers satisfy him, we'll let you return to your shop. But if not, we'll burn it down with you tied to a chair inside. Am I understood? Vadim cannot respond. It may be fear, it may be shock, could be anger, or simply confusion. But he just stares up at the woman's dark eyes. Sparks pulls the Tailor's head back and holds a knife to his throat. "She asked you a question, old-timer." Okay. "Good," Ember says with a smile. "Very good." Well, that's one way to clear a schedule. What's this all about? Who knows? Oh, right, I do! And so will you the next time we meet. But if you find yourself unable to wait, I would suggest picking up Vatour Feel Free to Die by Gift C. Inyadike Jr. on Amazon. Goodbye, dear listeners, and stay safe. This period of sickness and sadness will pass. Perhaps in future we will look back at this time period and laugh. Well, you might. I'm laughing right now. You're all dying.